Let's take a look at the poorest towns in each state. After my poorest county video, people kept saying that they're all going to be in the southern states and that the South has the most poverty in their counties and their towns, and I started thinking about it and I thought we could do a video on the poorest towns according to the American Community Survey from the US Census. Figured we'd look at all the states and break it down by region. A little side note about small towns with a great deal of poverty. Poverty doesn't mean the people are horrible people. The town, in most cases, just doesn't have enough good paying jobs, a legit industry, or a decent commercial district or area. If you're from a small town or you've gone and stayed in a small town, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you ever want to help out a town that I mention on a video, spend some time there. Get fuel there on a road trip, stop in to eat at a local diner, go into the shops, do a little antiquing, put some money into the local economy. I try every time I'm on a road trip to stop at some place like that instead of some big city. If it's a, couple miles off the road, I don't mind doing that. I'll go out of my way a little bit to see a small town. Been doing it for years. I know YouTube creators don't do meetups anymore. That used to be a trend back in the day, but they'd meet up with their subscribers at a location. If I ever did one, I'd do it like in a small town, at a small town brewery or something like that. But back to this video. Instead of doing an hour-long video, we thought we'd break it up by region. And just so you know, region maps differ in a lot of different ways. There's several of them. There's not just one regional map. As an example, Texas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware are part of the South on some maps. Other maps have Texas, Oklahoma as part of the West or Southwest. If there's a state that can be included in another region, we'll adjust accordingly so we don't have regions with 20 states and another one that's got 5. Today's video has 10. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Jonesville, Virginia. Jonesville saw its heyday in the late 19th century and early 20th century. Like most towns in the central Appalachian region, it slowly slipped into an economic decline as the coal industry slowed around the 1950s. By the 1990s, this place was a commercial ghost town. The biggest thing going on in Jonesville, it's not even in Jonesville, it's outside of town, about 8 miles down the road, and that's a prison. Stats for prisons do affect cities and towns, but this one isn't within the city limits, so it'll affect the county but not the town of Jonesville. This town sucks on its own. I will give it one thing, it doesn't look horrible. It's not a bad looking small town. I mean, for one with really high amount of poverty, it doesn't look that bad. They have a population of about 1,300 residents. Their median household income is $15,691. 48% of the town's residents live below the poverty line. That's about half. That's crazy. If you want to buy a home here, good news, it's dirt cheap. But realistically, you could find a lot of nice homes here for under $100,000. I'd say $150,000 is a good number to be shooting for, but they have really nice ones that would go for like $800,000 in Oregon or something like that are going for $300,000 and $400,000. If you're looking for it on a map, it's about 40 minutes west of Kingsport, Tennessee, and about an hour east of Middleborough, Kentucky. Number 9, Jamestown, Tennessee. Jamestown sits about an hour and a half northwest of Knoxville. This is an interesting little town. Before Jamestown was founded, the area was known as Sand Springs because it had a whole bunch of springs around the place. Actually, the last remaining spring is located in Mark Twain Park, just northeast of the county courthouse. That spring was actually the water source for John M. Clemens, the father of Samuel L. Clemens, or Mark Twain. This was obviously before they moved to Missouri. John Clemens, Mark Twain's father, actually served as the first circuit court clerk, and he drew up the plans for the first courthouse and jail in this town. Now, what's really strange about this town is it kind of looks old, and a lot of it has to do with the amazing masonry that all the buildings downtown are made out of. You kind of look at it and go, this town needs an upgrade, but when you look closer, it's a very clean little town. For a town just flooded with poverty, it is a very clean, nice town. It just got a weird look to it. Like it needs to be updated a little bit, but it's still clean. I don't know, it's weird. Look for yourself. The median household income here is only $17,051. 43.9% of the town lives below the poverty line, and you can get a house here, the median home value is $69,000. I think that number is artificially low because they have a lot of open lots for sale, which I think is bringing down the median home value. Realistically, to get something decent, you're probably looking at about $175,000 to $260,000. Somewhere in that area will get you something nice. And the cool thing about this area is most pieces of property are going to come with an acre or two, at least. Unless it's like downtown, then obviously that's a different story. This is a nice looking small town. It just has a lot of poverty. Number 8, Allendale, South Carolina. This is a community on the decline. Allendale is the poorest town in the poorest county in the Palmetto State. This town is a frickin' circus. I mean, besides all the different problems they have with poverty and everything like that, we'll get to that in a second, the school district has been taken over by the state a few times. The state has to help out with the police department, with basic law enforcement, and they almost had a fight at a city council meeting recently. Yeah, not even kidding. I'd like to tell you it was a couple of the residents, maybe a couple parents didn't like something going on. That seems to be the norm for city council meetings these days and school board meetings. But no, this was the mayor and a council person. She got angry because he told her to shut up, which he probably shouldn't have. So she started yelling at him. He kept banging his gavel, continually saying it. Shut up, shut up, shut up, over and over and over. Like I said, the town's a circus. Their median household income is about $18,680. South Carolina's median household income is $54,000. 37.7% of this population lives below the poverty line, and the median home value is $39,300. When it comes to home buying here, there isn't much that is over $100,000. They've got one home going for $799,000, so $800,000. It comes with 6 acres, and a pool, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like someone hit the lottery here and now has to sell their house 5 years later because they done spent all their money. They only have a population of 2,953. That was at the 2020 census, and it's been on a steep decline in the last few census. Since 2010, they lost 20% of their population. So in 2030, I'm sure you're going to see it below 2,000. I almost guarantee. Number 7, Scotland Neck, North Carolina. Scotland Neck is not a place you want to live, and actually that's kind of a theme for this place because they've been losing population since the 1960s. Not even kidding, every single census they've lost between 12 and 3%. Most recently, they lost about 11%. If you're looking for it on a map, don't bother, it's not worth it, but I'm going to tell you where it is anyway. Scotland Neck sits about an hour and a half east of Raleigh, North Carolina, about 40 minutes northeast of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. The median household income here is $15,404. 43% of their population lives below the poverty line. North Carolina's average or their poverty rate is 14%. So these guys are knocking it out of the park. Median home value here is about $65,900, where the median for the rest of the state is $182,000. Now this is another one that has an artificially low median home price. It's actually $65,900. That's because they have a lot of lots for sale that are going for $10,000 and stuff like that. So their median is kind of screwed up. Realistically, if you want to buy something here, it's going to be over $200,000, $250,000. They go up from there, but that's about the base. This is another place that's losing population. They only have 1,770 residents right now. Number 6, Rosedale, Mississippi. Hey, look, it's our old friend Mississippi. You know, they never seem to show up on these poverty lists. It's so weird that they're here. Rosedale, Mississippi sits along the Mississippi River right across from Arkansas and about 25 minutes west of Cleveland, Mississippi. We've talked about this area recently. Don't move here. Their downtown reminds me of a post-apocalyptic movie. Like, remember those Discovery Channel? They used to have like 3 weeks after all mankind is dead and what the city would look like and stuff like that. That's what their downtown looks like. If you catch it on the right moment with no cars on the road, you're all, yeah, I'm in The Walking Dead. There's going to be zombies coming out of that store right there. The good news is you got the Mississippi River right there, so you can always go fish for your dinner. And I'm sure more than a few people do this all the time. The median household income here is $15,130. In Mississippi, they're pretty low already, but their median household income is $46,511. 57.1% of this population lives below the poverty line. I mean, Mississippi's pretty high already with 19.6. These people are trying to win a competition with their poverty rate, it looks like. Now, this is really strange. Normally, I'll go to Zillow or Redfin and look at what the prices are going, because I'll give you the median price, which is the technical term and what real estate agents and economists look at, but I like to give you guys what's being sold around there. Right now, the median home value is $86,900. Mississippi, the median home value is about $125,000. There's nothing for sale right now. There hasn't been anything sold in this town in 5 years. 5 years. Nobody's left. Nobody's come in. Right now, they have a population of about 1,855 residents. And surprise, surprise, they've had a losing population 4 census in a row. Since 1980 census was the last time they gained population, and they gained pretty steady prior to that. The 1990 census, they lost 7%, 2007 percent, and then in 2010, they knocked it out of the park. They lost 22% of their population, and in the 2020 census, they lost 15%. Losing that many people, they were either renters or they just abandoned their home and nobody bought it. Number 5, Urania, Louisiana. Urania, Louisiana, besides having all kinds of jokes floating around my head just by saying Urania, trying to be a mature adult, but in reality, I have the sense of humor of a 17-year-old boy. A very immature 17-year-old boy. The good news, at this age, I have a little more control, and I'm not letting that joke out. Or all 12 of them that I've written down since I saw the word Urania. Urania sits about 45 minutes north of Alexandria, and it's got a couple cool things here. The first thing is they got a good-sized medical center for such a small place. Then they have a correctional facility. They have a lumber mill, which is a good size, especially for a small community like this. They also have a bioenergy plant. And like any good town rocking a serious amount of poverty, they got the train tracks running straight through town, splitting the place in half. The median household income in Urania is $12,358. The median household income for all Louisiana is $50,000. Poverty rate, about 40.4% of their population lives below the poverty line, 18.6% for the entire state of Louisiana. They're pretty bad, just like Mississippi. You want to buy a house here, the median home value is $48,000. This one, again, hasn't sold anything in a long time, and they have one thing for sale right now. It's a decent-looking home, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and it's going for $330,000. But this house looks really nice, so I think it's an oddity. Now, this is weird about their population. So, since 1960, they had been losing population. And it was going down 5%, 17%, 2, 7, 10. And finally, in 2010, they gained 87%. They went from 700 residents to 1,300 residents. But they had a reversal of fortune, I guess, because in 2020, they went down to 698. They lost 46.8% of their population. Not a great place to be living. Number 4, Pahokee, Florida. Pahokee sits on Lake Okeechobee, which that sounds like I'm getting ready to tell you some kind of riddle or something like that. But no, this is a real place, the lake and the town. It is west of West Palm Beach, Florida, and north of another wonderful Florida town, Belle Glade. Both these places suck, but Pahokee being a little bit worse. This isn't one of the vacation towns of Florida. They have so many, this is definitely not one of them, even though it's on a lake. I mean, the only person that ever shows up here is probably looking for someone that jumped bail. The median household income in Pahokee is $19,587. 44.6% of their population lives below the poverty line. All of Florida, it's 13.3%. The median home value here is $305,100. That's expensive for a place that kind of blows. They do have a population of about 1,100 residents. They've been losing population since the 1990s. When it comes to buying a home here, it's all over the map. Now, they say it's like $305,000 to buy a home here, but they actually have one right now. It's kind of run down, but looks livable, $95,000. But they got some other ones that are going for like $250,000, $189,000, and $480,000. So they're all over the map. Number 3, Cordele, Georgia. Cordele's a pretty good place if you like watching trains. After that, there's not much to this place. Cordele has 3 different lines that run through town, which is kind of a rarity. Unless it's a giant city, you usually don't get that kind of train action. They actually have a little train park there where you could watch the trains go by. Cordele isn't a small town. It's actually pretty good size. It's got 10,000 residents, but it seems like a lot more because it's kind of a big community. A lot of properties are just outside of town. Sadly, this is a good-looking town. That's not the sad part. The sad part is their downtown has a lot of empty shops. And that's kind of happening throughout the country right now, especially in the Midwest and the South. A lot of these small towns just have all kinds of commercial spots that are just vacant. About 49.7% of the population lives below the poverty line here, and the median household income is only $20,350. The median home value here is about $81,600. That's a little low, but it's not hard to find a house here for about $130,000, $140,000. That'll get you a nice livable home. It's not like it's got bars on the windows or anything like that. It's decent. Number 2, Livingston, Alabama. Livingston is in between Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Meridian, Mississippi, being closer to Meridian, about an hour away. Now, this town isn't all bad. They do have the University of West Alabama here. That's decent. I guess the worst part about living here is the fact that the nearest big city for you is Meridian, Mississippi. The median household income in Livingston, Alabama is $16,621. That's not a lot of money. 47.3% of the population here lives below the poverty line. For all of Alabama, it's actually 16%, and the median home value is about $129,000. As far as houses go here, realistically, you're looking at under $100,000 to buy a home. And they've got a decent one now for $83,000, and then they got one, yeah, you just don't want it. It's for $40,000. This is a strange one for this list. I know we're not focusing on crime, but I noticed that the crime rate here is actually 23% lower than the national average. Outstanding, Livingston. I mean, these people, the poverty has wrecked this place, and their property crime, that's actually 35% lower than the national average. It's not bad. So it's like the 3,200 residents that live here, they get to live without fear of having their stuff stolen. All right, before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. All right, on to number one. And number one, Marianna, Arkansas. Marianna sits about an hour and a half east of Little Rock, Arkansas, a little west of the Mississippi River. Marianna may not be the best place to live in the world, but it does have the best barbecue. No kidding. Jones Barbecue, it's like the only restaurant in Arkansas to ever win the James Beard Award. It's been there over 100 years. The grandson now runs it. They smoke enough pork for one day, and if you get there late and they've run out, that's it. Too bad. You got to come back again tomorrow if you want to try. But that's about the bright spot of this town. The median household income here is $16,709. That's not much. The poverty rate here is 40%. 40% of the population here lives below the poverty line, and the median home value is $70,912. The rest of Arkansas isn't knocking it out of the park with real estate prices, but it's $133,000. They have a population of 3,472, and that means 3,472 people have a chance to eat at Jones Barbecue every single day. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now, if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and also let me know in the comment section below what region in the United States you'd like to see next. All right, everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.